heathens, let there be dragons. So that's kind of the theme for my January TBR. So we have some dragons, and we also have some dark academia, some horror sci-fi, some absinthe, and some legends. So where shall we start? We're going to start with the dragons, and then I'll get to the other books. So if you don't want to hear about dragons, skip forward. Dragons. Who doesn't love a dragon, right? There have been a lot of very hype books out recently over the last few years with dragons in them, notably the first one I have on this pile here. And I have accumulated quite a few that I have not read. So I thought, you know what? Why not do a January readathon for myself? Everybody else can join in if you want, and focus on dragons and sort of dragon romantasy style books. So I've got my TBR here. The first one, like I said, these two books need no introduction, right? So we've got Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I also decided to do it this month because Onyx Storm is coming out imminently. So these are going to be the first two books, or one of the first two books I read in January. So what is the series about, if you don't know? So Violet, the lead character in this book, she is at a university. She's going to be a scribe. And her mother says, oh, no, my daughter's not going to be a scribe. She is going to be a dragon rider. I don't think Violet really wants to be a dragon rider. But anyway, she's sent to Dragon Rider School Academy. And she attempts to become a dragon rider. And, of course, there's some sort of romance involved as well. That's kind of all I want to know. I like going into my books with not too much detail anyway on the synopsis because I just think it's more fun that way. But I have these two beautiful covers. Like I said, cannot wait for Onyx Storm. We'll be getting that when it comes out. Hopefully I'll love this. Well, hopefully I love these as much as everybody else has, but I will let you know. So the idea is then to do sort of a whole video on all three. Then we have those. Everybody knows about those. Then we have one that I have literally just purchased, and this is brand new out. I actually think this was out in the shop before the release date, but you know, January release date. This gorgeous Waterstones exclusive edition. Oh, look at those end papers. Oh my gosh. So this one sounds amazing. So this is A Language of Dragons, and this is by S.F. Williamson. And the premise of this, oh, it just sort of had me. I really hope this is good. So this is set in the 40s, so around, 20s, 1923, so around kind of almost World War One, and Bletchley Park. So if you know, Bletchley Park was kind of, they were tasked with breaking encryptions and codes during the war. So they were really integral to the kind of the war effort. So this is sort of a fictional kind of version of that. So our main character, she so basically dragons are actually a thing, and they're soaring the skies, and protests are erupting on the streets. And Vivian, who is our main character here, she has got an internship studying dragon languages. But then there's a war, kind of a civil war breaks out in this world, and her parents are arrested, and she kind of gets a mysterious sort of job offer to go to Bletchley Park, and she's been recruited to uncover the secrets of a hidden dragon language. If she succeeds, she and her family can all go home again, and if she doesn't, they all die. Hello. But of course, there's more to it than it seems, and what war are they really fighting? So that just sounds so good. So I think this has probably less romance, I don't know, but it just, the premise sounded incredible, so can't wait. Then another one that I probably needs no introduction, but this gorgeous cover. This is Moon the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. So this one, I've heard various synopses, but just sort of reading what's on the inside flap of this. This one is about an assassin. So I believe she does an assassin attempt and then gets, she's an assassin for the rebellion, yes, and she gets captured by the Guild of Nobles, and she's kind of thrown in jail. And she then encounters a dragon rider who's actually lost his dragon, and it's kind of like a piece of his soul is missing. So the two of them kind of have to break out of this prison and get together. And I believe he's still looking for his dragons, and, you know, she's part of the rebellion. This is quite a big book. A lot of people really love it. So a lot of people who I watch love this book. Some people don't. Some people really hate it. Some people say the writing is too flowery. I quite like a flowery writing. I like pretty writing. So I'm really expecting great things from this. I saw this on a lot of people's favourite romantasy books of the year. So cannot wait to read that. Also, the cover is so nice. And then the last one I've got is Fear the Flames. This is by Olivia Rose Darling. I might be wrong, but I believe this was kind of indie published, and this has now been kind of regular published. And this is gorgeous. So this is about you've got I remember this. Okay, so this is about a princess. So in this world there were 5 eggs, dragon eggs, and they all hatched, and she kind of like bonded, but her father kind of fears her. So he fears that she kind of would almost take over his kingdom. So he actually imprisons his own daughter. Yes, father of the year. He imprisons his own daughter for many years. And when she gets out, she kind of establishes her own kind of kingdom, but she also wants to get her dragons back. So she teams up with her father's enemy to get her dragons back. And I believe there may be a romance. So that just sounds, again, really, really good. It says she is vengeance and he will be her sword. That just sounds right up my alley. So let there be dragons. So those are all the dragon books. A lot of dragons flying around in this house. Then if you're not so into dragons, the other books that I'm planning to read this month, I have a lot of books I want to read, FYI, and this might change. But, so the dragons are definitely happening. But the first one is Killingly, and this is by Catherine Boutner. This has been sitting on my shelf for quite a while, and it's one of those ones I keep looking at and keep kind of not picking up, but I'm like, this is the month I'm picking it up. At the very least, I'm going to try it. So this is Not All Missing Girls Want to Be Found. So this is in 1897 in New England. They're at a kind of a exclusive girls' school, and there's 2 girls that are kind of like outcasts, and then one of them goes missing. And I believe that, you know, they don't really want to kind of look for her, but there's a whole lot of secrets and lies at this kind of college, at this university, and those kind of get uncovered in the process of trying to figure out what happened to this missing girl. Dark academia, late 1800s, sort of Victorian era, this relationship between these 2 girls at this college, and kind of this secrets and lies of this town. It just sounds perfect. I also really want to reread The Secret History because I'm in a dark academia mood again, so we might be doing that as well. But that sounds really, really good. Then Midnight Showing by Megan Shepherd. I'm gonna have to admit something here. I've already started this. So I'm filming this video a couple of days into the new year, but I literally started reading this at the stroke of midnight on the 31st of December. Because I was like, this is gonna be the first book I read in the new year, and it's called Midnight Showing. It's perfect. This is actually the second book. So the first book was Malice House, and you may have heard me prattle on about Malice House in my kind of year-end wrap-ups because I absolutely loved it. This is kind of book 2 in that duology, and it follows on the story from Malice House, so I won't talk too much about the plot of this. But the kind of the plot of Malice House is that you have a girl, I almost gave away something about the plot. You have a girl whose father was a famous author. He dies and she inherits his house, Malice House, and she kind of goes there and she discovers this manuscript that she's like, wow, this is really weird. This is not really my father's style at all. And it's called Bedtime Stories for Monsters. And it's really dark, gruesome fairy tales for adults. And because she's an illustrator, she starts illustrating these fairy tales and weird shit starts happening. It's magical realism, it's horror, it's fantasy, it's all sorts of like murder mystery, detective stuff, all sorts of things. This focuses very much on film and Hollywood. It's already, I mean, I'm page 233, so I'm almost done with this book. Love it. I think I read from midnight till 3 in the morning on New Year's Eve because I'm rock and roll, like that's what I do on New Year's, but it's fantastic. Then I've got 2 that include my favourite drink, and I've dressed too much so to drink, and that is absinthe. Absinthe girl. I love absinthe. I have an absinthe fountain. It's my typical choice. Absinthe and whiskey. And these 2 books, I've had on my shelves for ages, and they are being read in January. So the first one here is Opium and Absinthe by Lydia Kang. And I may have mentioned this in my vampire book. The synopsis of this one is, again, we're in the late 1800s, so 1899 New York City in this case. And our main character, Tilly, she is a... her sister, yeah, sorry. I was trying to remember what. So Tilly's sister is found drained of all her blood. She's murdered and drained of all her blood. And of course, they're like, oh, this is a bit weird. And then they're like, oh, this may be vampires, but vampires don't exist, do they? And then Tilly, she's always been like a ravenous reader, which kind of drew me to the main character. So she's kind of going to do some research, and she's trying to unravel the mystery of her sister's death. And it says she can't really bring herself to believe vampires exist, but with the hysteria surrounding her sister's death, the continued vampiric slayings, and the opium swirling through her body, it's becoming increasingly difficult to figure out what is real and what is not. And it also mentions that 1899 Dracula's, Bram Stoker's new novel Dracula has just been published, so it's a lot kind of drawing in from that sort of Dracula lore. So I just think this sounds incredible. And you know, opium and absinthe, loved it. Then my second absinthe book is this one. This is The Absinthe Underground, and this is by Jamie Paxton. This is just a gorgeous cover, and it's very much in that style of the classic absinthe posters. So if you've seen the very classic, I'm looking at one over there, I've got one over there, and it's very much in this vein. So I love the cover of this book. But this one is it says on the back, Moulin Rouge meets Holly Black in a thrilling sapphic friends to lovers romantasy. Really, that was all you needed to tell me, plus the cover. But it is basically about two girls. One, I believe she's quite rich, and she kind of doesn't like her life. I think it's the 20s. So yeah, Belle Epoque, so we're talking about the 20s. And she runs away from home, and she meets up with this other girl. They strike up a friendship and a bit more. They're living together, and they start producing these posters of like these kind of absinthe posters. And they meet in this underground club, and I believe that they encounter the Green Fairy. Now, if you know about absinthe, it's very much called the Green Fairy, right? Because if you have too much absinthe, you might be seeing the Green Fairy. And it turns out that the Green Fairy is an actual Green Fairy, and I believe she's been cursed. And she hires these two to kind of perform a heist to help her. But the heist, I believe, is in fairy. So I mean, this could not be, the synopsis at the very least, could not be more up my street. All the things I love in one book. It was written for me. I am so hoping this is going to be good. I'll be so disappointed if it isn't. And then the final book I randomly threw in here is Legendborn. And this is by, Tracy Tracy Deonn. Now, this one I have been meaning to read for ages, and I'm really hoping I enjoy the series, because if I do, I want to kind of continue in it. So it is a YA kind of romantasy series based on King Arthur, but I believe gender bent and also more modern. So I believe this is kind of more of an urban fantasy about a girl that goes to a college, and then she kind of discovers that she has magic, and it's kind of based around Arthurian legend. So I thought it sort of matched the vibe of the Dragon books, but I really want to get to this, and it's one of these ones that's been sitting on my shelf for probably about a year now, and I just haven't gotten to it. So I'm thinking, one of my other massive resolutions for 2025 is starting and finishing all of my series that I have. And I actually made a really good dent in that. But I really want to kind of start and finish all of my series, because I'm quite good at starting them, not great at finishing them, or at least catching up. So that is the last one. I'm also going to be posting another video. That is my kind of romantasy TBR for the year. And that is based on Hannah Blackwell. She's doing a romantasy bingo card for like 2025. So kind of like a whole year thing. So I will be posting a separate video for that. And you can kind of see what my bingo choices are for that bingo board. But that's my January TBR. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've read any of those, if you're also going to be reading some Dragon books. And I will speak to you very soon. Bye.